Good morning, everyone. I wouldn't say it's a good morning for me. I hope it's a good morning for you all, but unfortunately, the first part of this video did not record, and I'm really upset with myself because of that. So you didn't get to see the part of what you needed to do with your bread before you put it in the oven. I will try to explain it to you. However, if you search through my videos, you'll come across a bake day, a sourdough bread bake day video. I would highly suggest you watch that. That will show you what you need to do in your own loaf in order to get it into the oven. Unfortunately, I will also have to make this into two parts because I want to explain to you that what you're seeing is my bread lamb, which is just a razor blade on a stick, basically, and my sling that I use to move my bread in and out of the Dutch oven, okay? The very first thing you're going to do when you get up, when you go to bake your bread, is adjust your oven shelves so that your Dutch oven fits in there with the lid on, okay? If you're using a cast iron Dutch oven, if it's enamel covered, if it's not, get your Dutch oven out, get it prepared, do whatever it is you need to do with it, and put it in the oven with the lid on, and set your oven to 500 degrees and let it preheat. You want your Dutch oven to be screaming hot. If you're using stainless steel like I am, you don't necessarily have to put your pot in the oven, but because stainless steel heats up fast, okay? I don't like a crusty bread. I mean, real dark. I'm not saying dark, but like, you'll see my bread when it comes out of the oven, how I like it. That's the color that I like. So I bake the way I bake. If you like a darker, crustier bread, then by all means, you keep your oven at 500 degrees and increase your baking time by 5 minutes. So what's going to happen is you're going to have your Dutch oven in the oven. You don't do anything with your bread until your oven is preheated to 500 degrees. At that point, you'll take your bread out. You'll put you'll pull off the cover, whatever you use to cover it with. Put a piece of parchment paper on top of it. I use parchment. You don't have to. You can just use a bread sling. But if you don't have a bread sling, use parchment paper. If you're looking to be economical, they sell it at the dollar store. Okay? I buy the great big rolls from Sam's Club. Oh, those things are great. They last forever. But anyways, if you don't have anything to put your bread on, you can use aluminum foil, but you want to make sure that you use some sort of high temperature, high smoke point oil or to lubricate it so your bread doesn't stick, okay? Once you're ready to put your bread in the pan, you have to give it an expansion score. That's what your bread lamb is for. You'll start at one end and go. I just did it right over the top and went from one end to the other well, mine wasn't deep enough, but you want it to be about 3/4 of an inch deep to an inch deep, okay? From tip to tip, basically. I wish I could have, I really do wish you could have seen that. But anyways, you need to have an expansion score. Otherwise, your dough is going to explode, and it's gonna have all kinds of it's gonna look like it exploded in your pan, really. So you give it the expansion score to direct the expansion, right? So once you do that, put the lid on and get it in the oven. You don't want to waste time at this point in time. You want to have your expansion score done before you pull your pan out. You don't want to waste a lot of time having your pan outside of the oven and letting it cool down, because that's what makes your bread spring. Okay, that's what gives your bread lift. So put it in the oven. If you're using the cast iron, leave it at 500 degrees for 15 minutes. Okay, after 15 minutes, you'll pull it out of the oven. Take the lid off, examine it if you want, see how it's doing, then put it right back in the oven for 30 minutes. Okay, after 30 minutes, you're going to pull it out of the oven. You're going to get your instant read thermometer or whatever kind of thermometer you have and take your bread temperature. You want your bread to be between 200 and 205 degrees. And if you're using cast iron at 500 degrees, it should be at temp. If you're using a stainless steel pot, you'll do all the same steps, put it in the oven, but I turn my oven down to 450 degrees. I bake the first part at 20 minutes. I set my timer for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I shut it off, or I pull my bread out, take the lid off, examine it, put it back in the oven for 30 minutes. Okay? After 30 minutes, I'll take the temperature, I'll pull it out and take the temperature, and 90% of the time it's not to temp. So I'll put it back in the oven for about 7 minutes. 7 additional minutes. So after 7 minutes, I'll pull it out and it should be at temp. And this is the part that I think is the most important when it comes to baking bread. After 7 minutes, after you pull your bread out of the oven and it's at temperature, do not cut into it. Let it cool. Okay? Now, I'm going to end it here. Come back for part 2 and you'll see me pull my bread out of the oven.